6 minutes past 7 GMT. Welcome to Weekend from the BBC World Service with me, Julian Warwick. At COP29, there's obviously a lot of talk about climate change, but for these words to spur people into meaningful action, the language used matters. And we turned to discuss that to Lee Crimble, who's a behavioural linguist in Johannesburg, South Africa, to describe the role the use of language can play in more effective communication about the climate crisis.
The language and communication element's so critical. And the thing about behavioral linguistics, so that's a new field of communication, which is really rooted in how people process information, how they form some type of viewpoint, and then ultimately make a decision to act in some way. And the language connected to that is just so powerful. What we're finding, and certainly we've been following a lot of what's happening at COP29 ourselves, is through the powerful use of language, and this transcends geographics, demographics, linguistics, these behavioral principles are so innate to all types of people. And so by really speaking to people on a level that resonates with them, that's relevant to them, we found that this means that the communication is so much more effective and persuasive.
Give us some examples. What works in this context? What doesn't?
We've been quite interested in some exciting changes in news reporting when it comes to style guides. So the New York Times, for example, they've started to change up their semantics, and semantics and word choice is a critical pillar of behavioral linguistics, because we know people use language to make sense of the world and how we see things. And so they've changed style guides such that we no longer refer to biodiversity in our news reporting. It's wildlife, because, we care more about wildlife than something that maybe is a bit more distanced and scientific, like biodiversity. And global warming, we're now seeing reference to global heating. The argument there is warming's quite nice. And certainly in the Northern Hemisphere, you're going into your winter months now. Warming's lovely. Heating is a little bit more urgent. It's a little bit more uncomfortable. And so referring to global heating has more of an impact language-wise. And certainly our favorite example, not referring to climate change, but climate